Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By.
Hello.
A Star Trek podcast. This week we're doing episode 238.
Woo!
Please, show some respect.
Woo.
And we'll be talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek Voyager, Emanations, and Prime Factors. But before that, my name is Jake.
This is Chris.
This is Ames.
And this is Caitlin.
All right, so we are knee deep, or elbow deep perhaps, in season 1 of Star Trek Voyager, and these are episodes 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's a short season too.
Short season. You know, these episodes aired mid-March.
At least it's
1995.
not too short a season.
Yeah.
That's an awful episode.
I don't get it.
That's the Jameson episode.
So yeah,
Ooh,
Emanations.
No, thank you.
Emanations and Prime Factors. But first we'll talk about Emanations. So what do we got here? So, Voyager has...
The Voyager.
The Voyager has found a new element, a new exciting element for our periodic table.
What can we make out of it?
Yeah, and they have all these great ideas. They're like, man, this whatever this is, it's probably got some really cool properties. What is going on over here?
Pacemaker? What are you
Johnny,
suggesting?
what do you make of this? Well, this I can make a brooch, a hat, a pterodactyl.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Good
Yeah, so
reference.
they're dreaming about all things they could use it for, and the material seems to be just scattered throughout the rings of this gas giant that they're at. So they go and they beam down to one of the asteroids in the ring, and they're looking around for this magical element, and instead they find a bunch of corpses wrapped in some kind of a material.
Let's disturb them.
So
No!
What?
Ames! They were obviously put there with intent. You can't disturb them.
So
Okay,
you know,
I'm just gonna steal parts of them.
so they're talking about, you
That's
know,
fine.
like, I think B'Elanna and Kim were there, and they're talking about all the things they want to do to these bodies, all the dirty, dirty things they want to do with them. And Chakotay's like, no, we can't do anything to these bodies. That would be a desecration. This is a burial site.
Haven't you fuckers seen Pet Sematary?
There's that, too. You know, yeah, Tasha Yar was there.
In
Oh
the
my
Pet
gosh.
Cemetery?
She was in the film.
Oh, was she? Was she
Denise
mom? Oh my god,
Crosby?
she was mom!
She was the mother.
Holy shit!
I
Wow,
know,
it's
I
been
keep-
such a long time since I've seen that movie. I totally forgot she was
I
in
keep
it.
forgetting Denise Crosby got work.
Yeah, she got, like, that's probably the movie she left the show for.
Oh, honey.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Herman Munster was in it. So,
True.
Who could blame her, really?
But anywho,
It's a creepy movie.
It is a creepy movie. Anywho, so Chakotay's, you know, he's getting, you know, little like, you know, we can't fuck around with this stuff, you know. My people have a long history of people fucking with our burial sites, so let's not start this shit
He
again.
never brought that up, which was interesting to me. But
Yeah,
we'll talk about
I
that.
think
It was
it was
implied.
implicit. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, just the fact that they had Chakotay be the one talking about it, I think made that implicit.
Well,
I
we'll
agree.
come back to it.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. Anyway,
Because I have thoughts.
so they're like, all right, fine, we'll just leave. And as they're beaming out, they're like, something bad starts happening, and they're like, oh shit, we gotta get the fuck out of here, like some kind of subspace bullshit.
Some kind of a Star Trek.
And they're trying to beam out to get away from the subspace thing, and then they arrive back on the ship while B'Elanna and Chakotay do, but Harry Kim has been replaced with a body. And they're like, what? So they check out this body, and they're like, okay, yeah, it's sort of still alive, it's only mostly dead. So they bring it to sick bay, and the doc's like, yeah, you know, I fixed it up. It had, like, tumors. I just took care of it, and we'll wake this lady up.
Harry at the neutral
Apparently,
zone.
death cannot defeat us.
Yeah, so we'll figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Harry Kim has woken up on this rando planet with these people, and he's, like, in a box. So he starts, like, knocking on the box, like, let me out of the box! Let me out of the box!
What's in the box?
What's in the box? And they open the box, and there's a Harry Kim in the box.
Oh.
And they're like, this is bizarre. So we
What
come,
are you?
we come to
Yeah,
find
they're
out...
still not sure what's in the
We
box.
come to find out that this species, they have a death ritual where they put the dying person in a box. The box euthanizes them and then beams them
At a very precise time.
Yeah, well, right. It has to be a very precise time because then what happens is they just vanish out of the box, and we know that they appear on these asteroids in this gas giant, but they think that they're being transferred into the next emanation, which is their afterlife, and they have this. They don't really know why people disappear. They just think it's because of this, and they're very strong in their convictions that this box is a portal to the next emanation.
Star Trek, the next emanation.
So they wake up the lady anyway back on Voyager. They wake her up and she's like, "Oh, is this the next emanation? Where are my friends and family?" And they're like, "Nope, you're on a starship and you were mostly dead, but we fixed you. So what's up?" And she's like, "What? Fuck this! This is supposed to be the afterlife. I'm supposed to be getting nonstop blowjobs and shit."
You can still do that.
She was asking for her brother. I hope she wasn't looking for blowjobs.
Well,
It's fucked up.
It's the next emanation.
Well,
anything can happen.
He'd refer her to the people that give the blowjobs. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
And meanwhile, back on the planet, Harry Kim is talking to. There's another dude there who's like, "Oh man, I'm getting ready to die." And Harry Kim's like, "Oh really? What's wrong with you?" He's like, "Well, I got a bum leg and my family is done with my shit."
Why does he sound like Ray Romano?
Wow.
Everybody hates Raymond.
I would say if it was Ray Romano, I wouldn't be feeling bad for him. So
so we find out there's this society has this idea that it's sort of compassionate. If you're really sick, you can go to the box and get beamed up. But it's also just
like a broken leg.
Yeah, it also turns out that
Christ.
the threshold for
really low.
The suicide thing here is pretty low.
Yeah, but since they know where they're going, it's
You're
fine.
right. Yeah,
This is the goddamn future the liberals want.
"Oh, it's not death. It's just you're going to the next emanation. You're gonna get the blowjobs.
Yeah, you're done here. This place sucks for you, so why stick around?
Yeah, so it's a
Fred
good thing.
Garrett's gonna be there.
But then and then Harry's just yeah, that's great and all, but just so you know, I don't know that you're really going to the next. You're pretty much just going to be a body in a cave. And the guy's like, "Fuck." And then other people start, his wife comes in, she's pissed at Harry because she's like, "Man, I had my eyes set on the gardener
Just
outside.
about to get rid of this motherfucker."
And then there's this scientist guy who's the head of the suicide building. And he's like, "You're really fucking up my shit here, Harry Kim." So
kind of sounds like he said he was a gynecologist.
Yeah.
Could anybody get the word that he actually said he was?
And
Thanatologist.
Meaning
Studier
he's
of
the
death.
king of the fantasy there? Because that sounds like...
studies Thanos.
It's Greek.
Sure it is.
Somehow those aliens know
They
Greek.
love Greek.
Well, no, they're being translated.
I know.
So,
I know you know.
yeah, so back on Voyager, I can't really remember how this came about, but they're like, "All right, here's what we're gonna do, lady. We're gonna try to send you back, and hopefully, and Harry Kim will come back in your place, and you'll go back to your planet."
Or you'll at least go tell Harry
Yeah,
Kim
she
that
was
we're
going
here.
to bring a
or...
subspace beacony doodly.
Yeah. So they were trying to time their transport with when the thing was happening, but then the thing happened, and then she died anyway for some reason.
Yeah, that was harsh.
She just died, but she was like, she's alright with her, because, she wanted to die in the first place. So, and needless to say, Harry Kim did not come back. So back on planet side, the guy's getting ready to die, and he's having a lot of second thoughts, and he's like, "Man, I really want to go through with this. Really, my family put me up to this shit. I didn't really want to do it, but I'm gonna wrap myself in my family bandages."
Oh, so gross.
And then Harry's like, "I got an idea. Why don't I go into the suicide booth? You wrap me up. I'll go in the suicide booth.
Jesus, Harry.
Holy
shit.
I'll roll the dice. Hopefully my ship will find me and beam me out.
What's the worst that could happen? Oh no, the worst that could happen is
and then
die.
you just go run off, go to a farm upstate." And
But literally.
And the guy's like, "Not a bad idea, Harry Kim. Well, let's do that." Oh, by the way, also the Voyager bodies just keep showing up on Voyager.
Which is so fun.
They just keep appearing.
The warp core is like a
Deck
magnet.
15.
Yeah, the warp core is
Son
a
of
magnet
bitch.
for corpses.
Fucking magnets. How do they work?
And so Voyager's like, "Man, we really should get out of here. We've been looking for Harry. We can't find him. We should just probably skedaddle so we stop getting bodies showing up."
We've been looking for Harry for 15 minutes. Can we go?
And they're about to
Enough.
leave. They started the engine up there, they're idling or warming up the car.
Picking a radio station.
And then they're like, the ship shakes. It's like, oh, there's one more body. God damn it. Oh, it's a human body. Oh, it's Harry Kim. Fuck, that's great. Good thing we didn't leave.
Oh, but he's dead.
30 seconds earlier.
Oh, but don't worry about the dead part. Apparently, we're the masters of death now.
Yeah, he's dead, but he's only mostly dead. So the
you just
doctor,
need some con blood, evidently.
Doctor fixes him up, and all's well that ends well. Except those people on that planet are still doing the weird, their weird thing.
One guy got saved, and he can preach to the others that Jesus Christ, we should overthrow that government.
Yeah, I was going to say, so basically, as I put it at one point when Kate and I were watching this, the fucking Prime Directive is just getting it in every hole this episode.
Yeah, he's like, they just Eiffel Towered the Prime Directive. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, because I had said, Harry was going to ruin it, and then it's also happening on Voyager, so it's like, they're, Harry on one end, Janeway with a strap on the other, and they're high in five, and...
They're high in five.
I was getting some Half-Life vibes from this episode.
I said that too.
But these people were like they're in a position where it's not that it's not just that you're old and a burden on your family. It's that you're not having a good time here. You might as well go to the next room and see what it's like in there, kind of a thing. And it's a very strange scenario that they've concocted.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I was thinking that it's like, man. Now I get why they had to come up with rules against suicide in, a lot of religions. Because otherwise people would just be like, well, this sucks. I'm going to go to heaven now.
Oh, nope, sorry. That's a way you can't get into heaven. Sorry about that.
Poopy butts.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? I really think, afterlife or no afterlife, if it were socially acceptable to commit suicide, I feel like a lot more people would just do it.
This is getting dark. I
don't know.
This whole episode was a bummer.
You're right, though.
It's like, I don't want to deal with
shit.
Especially,
sick people. I've always said, if I ever come down with, something terminal, and it's like, yeah, you've got, 2 more months that are going to be, okay, and then you're probably going to just, feel like shit until you die, I would send someone out to get me some fucking strong-ass heroin and kiss myself goodbye on my own before it could get bad. Sorry, but that's the plan.
Yeah, so I feel like the fact that there's not people lining up to go in the machine here is a little strange.
Well, we don't know.
What is keeping them there? Is therefore the question.
Why would you
a lot of
bother?
People did appear on the ship in the 12 minutes they were looking for Harry Kim.
Well, being fair, any given planet,
I know,
has
a
large enough population.
Yeah. But we don't know what their population is.
That's true.
And these are only the people who are choosing their death. They're not the people dying of accidents and stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too.
What happens there?
Well, I wonder if they just put you in the box and, you go.
Yeah,
would it still work? Because, it's every 6 hours. So what if you missed your time?
You would put you in the queue, and then you get the next one.
Well, theoretically, the way that, like when people try to talk about how astrology is real... I remember saying, I was a C-section. What if I was actually supposed to be born, 2 weeks later, and it fucks everything up? And they're like, no, the time you were born is the time you were meant to be born. So it has to be the same with dying, is my opinion. So it's not a wrong time, if that makes sense. It's just,
you get there
differently. You're a C-section?
Yeah.
Neat.
You're like, I can never tell by your weird bulbous head.
That means, though, you can kill Macbeth.
Yes! Get him!
It's a superpower.
Bring the wolves to Dulcinane. Do it.
But yeah, it's that's what I mean. It's such a strange culture in that they're so just comfortable with the idea. We as a society have various sort of checks on that because again, it would otherwise be a little too easy. And it's interesting to see one that doesn't have that. And
well, especially if you think you're going to a paradise,
yeah,
and see all your friends and family again. Yeah, that's pretty enticing.
I feel like they're not necessarily expecting paradise though. Just the next.
Well,
step.
I mean, that guy's like, my leg will be better in the next emanation, so that's nice.
Oh, that's interesting.
See my dad.
Well, yeah, but
that's it.
That's just regular afterlife stuff. Seeing your dad theoretically. Yeah.
They and it is a little surprising. They kind of open the episode with the implicit Native American, burial site desecration thing, and
But not explicit.
not explicit. And then it doesn't really come up. I think I was sort of expecting. Maybe I'm glad that they didn't, but I was sort of expecting there to be a lot of, Chakotay spiritual shit.
I was very pleased they kind of just left it.
Yeah.
Because when they make Chakotay explicit...
Yeah, they'll do it in the future. But this one, I thought, the fact that he was the one bringing it up, yeah, fine, that sounds like something he would do. But the way he says, he justifies it and says, in the past, I was out on some kind of a mission, having a great time. I saw a rock I
Desecrating
liked.
graves.
And I was like, man, that's a cool rock. I'll bring it as a souvenir of my first awesome mission. And then he learns later, like, oh, fuck, I should not have taken that rock.
Gotta say, though, because I think he said it was like, was he still in the academy at that point?
Oh, I don't remember.
Either way, you really feel like part of the remit before they went down was, hey, P.S. everybody, just so you know, here's how this culture works, don't take any rocks.
Well, they might not have known until they got there, but also you would think it would go without saying, like, kind of like how you're not supposed to take anything or leave anything on a beach. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Just feels like don't fuck around. I don't know.
Yeah, and then he spends the rest of the episode after telling them don't bother the dead bodies, and then we start really bothering all these dead bodies.
Yeah, let's not bother them. Let's fucking bring them all back to life.
Yeah, and he's
That sounds
absent
much
for
better.
the rest of the episode. He's basically not there because he's in his quarters weeping.
Well, and what's interesting too is that, like, at one point it actually comes up where they're like, "Can you tell us anything about the bodies? Do you have any scientific knowledge of what happened there?" And Kim's like, "No, we didn't scan anything." So if anything, it almost feels like, man, we wish we had desecrated those bodies so we could have known something about, like, our afterlife. Like, fuck.
I mean,
If only you would.
Yeah, no, that's over-egging the pudding.
Well,
Especially a
according to
passive.
Chakotay,
Well, I know.
it is.
Chakotay seemed to take a pretty hard line on it. Like, I feel, disturbing the body,
He's not letting that rock thing happen again. God damn it.
tearing open the cocoon, maybe. Like, I could see certain things being problematic, but
Scanning
just seems pretty passive.
Yeah.
I actually did like when anthropologist Chakotay kind of appears and says, well, what can we tell from these dead bodies just with our eyes, just by looking at them? And B'Elanna's like,
They're
dead.
It was kind of nice, and I feel like the episode interrupted him at just the right time.
Yeah, if
It
there'd
was
been
like, all right,
more,
this
it
is
would've
starting to be stupid. Can we please move on? And then it did.
It was just enough. I liked it.
Yeah.
When he goes through just by looking at them, you can tell that they believe in something because they're in a position or in a position of genuflection kind of a thing.
a restful repose.
Yeah, and we can tell that they didn't have clothes. Kinky. Did they think they'd get their clothes for them in the afterlife?
No, easier to get the blowjobs that way.
Oh, there we go.
That's right.
Oh, and apparently they believe that they don't take that shit with them. I guess is
Yeah.
what he was saying it meant.
Yeah. So how long did you guys spend thinking the episode was going to involve a big fucking spider?
It did, yeah.
Not
yeah.
at all.
Well,
Really?
the corpses looked spidery. I didn't think it was going to have a spider, but I thought it was. I did not anticipate that the material that was on the bodies was the bodies themselves.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, see, I read the synopsis first, so I
Yeah.
already knew. But just the vibe when we go down there, it's like, we are in a haunted house.
That's what I mean. It was like a spooky. It had the dangling shit, and then all the bodies.
You're going to see that skeleton that we saw with bones and cat's paws.
Yeah. But so, yeah, no, we legit spent like the first couple of minutes being like, oh, there's going to be a big fucking spider. Can't wait to see the terrible special effects on it.
I was actually bracing myself to be horribly creeped out because I don't like spiders.
Those motherfuckers decompose fast, though, huh? Because even
It's that special element.
when they killed what's her name in the transporter, she came out already kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Gross.
weird.
So here's the thing, right? So it seemed like the reason Harry Kim got sent to the planet is like the subspace thing is like a two-way thing. It sucks you both ways. It either sucks you to the asteroid or it sucks you from the asteroid to the thing. So here's a couple things, right? While the bodies were appearing on Voyager, was nobody afraid that someone was going to get sucked to the other side?
They probably were.
Well, I think it was specifically, it wasn't just that he was there, it's that he was there in a transport. Like, it was because he was getting actively transported.
Oh.
Like, otherwise you couldn't just jump through it like a portal or something. It was specifically...
Because it was already kind of in subspace a bit.
Well, I hope nobody was using the transporter toilets at the same time as as somebody's body was getting transported.
They open up the box. What's in the... Oh, no!
So much poop!
A poop wrapped in a burial
shroud. The shroud comes through. Ooh, toilet paper.
But so the shroud doesn't come through though,
No,
right?
it doesn't,
Because
no.
it must stay
it's a
behind.
hand-me-down. So
Which is fucking disgusting.
So
It's only worn for like 15 minutes per
but it's on
generation.
your dad's like naked balls. I don't want to wear that.
I mean, it's been washed.
I don't want to wear that. I don't want to wear anything that's been on my dad's naked balls. Okay, no matter how many times it's been washed.
it's a little weird to me that like. Because Harry Kim's, he's all mummied up when he goes into the box.
Yeah, they don't notice that he's huge compared to the husband.
Yeah, a lot bigger than the husband, can walk or can walk without, his...
I'm sure he faked the limp.
Oh, maybe. But also doesn't say anything.
Maybe you're not supposed to?
They didn't say that, I don't think.
Maybe he was a man of few words.
Maybe.
He was muffled enough he could have said something, wouldn't have realized. Unfortunately, what he said was, "You're a fucking bitch." Seriously, she was way too eager.
Well, because he kind of, when he said it in the beginning, he was kind of like, I'm going to go because I know I'm a huge burden. And she was like, okay, babe, thanks. And then he tried to renege, and she was like, you said you were going to fucking go.
Yeah, like...
I mean, she's still a bitch, but, like, in her defense, it sounds like it was his idea, and then he kind of backed off.
No, there was a family meeting, remember?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I forgot the family
Yeah,
meeting.
there was a family meeting, and it was decided that he would go.
Yeah, that's pretty
You've been
fucked
voted
up.
off the island,
Yeah,
bitch.
what kind of fucking family meeting is
And
this?
clearly he'd already had some doubts, because he was like, I do have some friends in the mountains who said, dude, just come live with us.
Dude, come on, you don't have any family members you'd vote off the island if you had the choice.
I mean,
Yeah, but it's
fair.
part of their culture. It's such a cultural thing. It would be like, do you want to go to church for Christmas this year? Family meeting. Chris doesn't want to go, but the rest of us want to go, so we're going. And Chris is going to enjoy it.
Yeah, there's a big difference between going to church and...
Well, yeah, but again, they don't believe
Think of
they're
it as I
dying.
know,
they
I
believe
know.
that they're going to, like, the next step
Still,
in their
he
journey
again,
or whatever.
He clearly had already had some issues, because he'd already talked to his friends in the mountains, who were like, dude, this is fucked up even by our standards. Just come live in the hills with us.
I feel like what's actually going to happen is he's going to show up with his little bindle, and his friends in the mountain are going to be like, what are you doing here? Because I'm guessing this was not an explicit conversation they ever had. I think he's just assuming they're going to be happy to see him.
No, he's going to show up at the mountain. He's going to look at the mountain. He's going to look at his fucking leg and be like,
no!
God damn it!
Oh.
But yeah, no, boy. I mean, and I get it. Like, it's one thing to have faith. It's another to have what appears to be proof. You've got this fucking magic trick.
Yeah, but, yeah, I mean, it's religion.
Yeah,
Religion's fucked up.
yeah,
But does the priesty guy know that it's bullshit?
I don't think anybody knows it.
No, I think they all pretty much... Yeah, they buy it.
Yeah, they don't have proof otherwise, so
Like-
this makes sense to them.
Like, imagine if on Earth, when people died, they just, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi'd out. Just
Yeah.
their
Yeah,
clothes
you'd
fell
wonder
down.
where you're going.
And it's like, oh, okay. Like, it's one thing when something dies and it's a body and it decomposes and you can, burn it or bury it or do whatever you want with it.
Boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew.
Yeah. It's a different thing, I guess, if the body just vanishes. And you probably... And I'm assuming if things die outside of the magic box, they do just decompose.
Yeah.
You have to be in the box. So I can see how you could get to the point where you're like, okay, there's something magic happening in this box that makes dead things do something different than they normally do.
Explain to me then what the fuck Janeway was trying to tell Harry in the last scene, where he's like, "Oh, it's a shame that these people think they're going to heaven, but they're actually going to an asteroid."
That cop out.
And Janeway's like, "Yeah, but because of this element thing, and maybe their essence is going to another plane, yet another dimension, and this and this,
So
and what?"
They tried to imply that... Because they noticed that when they died, there was like a burst of neural energy.
Sure.
Which was then kind of absorbed into the rings. So it sounds like it's not really an afterlife so much as they're becoming a collective consciousness that exists in those rings.
But there's absolutely no proof of that either.
No. And really all that means is they're maybe still alive in there until that solar system is destroyed.
bomb it.
But, yeah, it's a weird kind of, like, trying to have your cake and eat it too, which, not that I actually care a fucking jot about what he would have thought, but I feel like that's something Roddenberry would have been like, it's dumb. Don't do that.
It wasn't even really necessary to do it.
No.
You know, could have been.
They needed a resolution that, oh man, this was a really religious-y episode.
Well, I was gonna say
we have to make sure people aren't going to be upset.
I was just gonna say it was probably 100% just like the production staff being like, we can't be like, no, there's no God and afterlife and shit.
Which TOS episode was it? I want to say the Apollo episode where someone's like, oh, the gods were blah blah blah. And Kirk says, "Oh, for us, we were fine with just the one." It's like, no, that's not what this show is about.
No, well, that was definitely a fucking. The network made that line before. And oh god, never forget fucking
he's
bread
the
and
sun.
circuses. God, aside from the like really hot Spock and Bones scene, that episode is trash.
Yeah, it's pretty garbage.
I want to talk a little about elements. Because I looked up something neat about elements. At the time of this episode coming out, there were 111 known elements at airing. And this episode, they discover what is supposed to be the 247th element. Which is a lot of fucking elements. Considering, like, the difference between elements is how many... Oh, correct me where my chemistry is wrong
atoms
here.
Or moles
How many... neutrinos are in an atom, protons in an atom. So, how many somethings are in an atom?
I think it's a number of protons.
Protons in an atom? Okay. Now, what's interesting about this number 247 is that physics have been studying, because they've since made more elements by just jamming more protons in an atom and being like, look, that's a new one! Jam more in. And physicists believe the upper limit to how many you can actually go, how many elements there may actually be, is 172. Just because there's no physical way to get that many more in an atom.
Well, yet.
See, that's one thing I was kind of wondering, because I didn't realize we already were just making them in labs. Good for us.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of 3-letter elements now, and those are the new ones.
Well, yeah, there's like the
Einsteinium
the transuranic elements.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. But that was my thought when they were talking about finding a new element. I was like, you guys have replicators. Can't you just literally...
That's a good point.
Have, any possible combination have been worked out by a computer by now? I mean,
Yeah, well,
we discovered an element that is just put enough together and you have mustard.
Yum.
Mustard element.
They've discovered the element of surprise.
Well, the other thing about those high numbered elements is that they're extremely unstable. They can create them in the lab for seconds or milliseconds.
Enough that you can name it and say, I did it.
Yeah, and then they just break down into
I guess
things.
Finding it stable in a natural way is a different... that's more important. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's stable, then you can make things out of it instead of just saying, look, I did it, and now it's gone. Bye. But that's kind of cool. I'm a fan of bismuth. That's a good element.
That's a fun word.
It's one of the ingredients in Pepto-Bismol.
There you go. So it gives it that
that'll be the
delicious
biz
flavor.
Bismol, eh?
No, actually, the flavor is to cover up the taste of bismuth, which is, hoo boy.
It's literally Satan's asshole, probably.
No, I bet that's great. Fucking
Satan's
nice
asshole?
chili sauce.
Yikes.
Apples.
I don't know what's going on.
Appropriately.
Why is this happening?
I don't know. Let's talk about another thing. The working title for this episode was Beyond.
Good name.
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
What else is good? Oh, you know how was it literally just last week I was talking about how they were, for the first chunk of episodes of Voyager, they were using the 4-act structure. This is the one where they go back to the 5-act. So that didn't last fucking long, did it?
Nah, I guess not.
Oh. So Caitlin was like, I feel like I recognize the
Oh my god!
planetologist.
Jake did too! You son of a bitch! I was so angry that he was right. So angry.
No, see, Caitlin didn't have a guess who he was. Neither did I.
Oh, did you actually know who he was? You figured it out?
Yeah, I figured it
Jake,
out.
Jake could hear it in the voice. And what did you say, Jake?
I said, is that Mark Twain?
And it was.
Damn.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the same-
no, I
the
just
same
looked at him
actor.
and was like, he looks similar. He looks familiar, is what I said.
He'd apparently also been in an earlier episode of TNG, not under makeup,
Yeah,
but I
he
forget
was.
the episode.
Yeah, I remember because we looked at I was reminded of what it was because he was in, and then the bow breaks. I think that's the title. The one where the aliens need children because they can't make children. Kind of a thing.
Right,
He was Radu, which I specifically remember because
Ragu?
Ragu?
we kept calling him Ragu, and Jake made the joke because his wife can't get prego.
Still
Forgot
a
about
solid
that
joke.
episode.
Yeah.
Forgot about that fucking gold joke.
So yeah, he's better as this guy and as Radu than Mark Twain. That's just Bam.
I know.
Was he also Bam?
He was also Bem.
No, James Stewart was
This
probably
one.
them.
Oh,
God,
boy.
Bem. All right. Anything else on Nocturnal Emanations?
It was a wicked bummer, but it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was quite
But
good.
yeah, it was really
Yes.
like, oh
Yeah.
boy, let's
Fucking
talk about death for an hour.
Harry walking out on the flimsiest of limbs, being like,
Yeah.
okay, if I die, they'll revive me. How the fuck do you know any of that, Harry?
I did like this episode. I will say, it straight up is one of those episodes where it's like, this feels like the writers had, dusted off a TNG script and changed out the characters.
Maybe, yeah.
Because it feels very like it would have worked just as well in TNG.
I do like that it's Harry Kim because he's getting a little bit O'Brien here, in which it's like, let's just torture Kim a lot because he's so innocent and it's kind of sad.
He is so wide-eyed.
But I still enjoy it.
It's funny you say that because what I had said in the next episode was that the first person we meet, I feel like, costume-wise, was a refugee from an early Next Gen episode.
Who was that gonna be, Jake?
What?
Prime Factors.
Oh, Prime Factors. Yeah, okay, so that's the end of that episode. Our next episode we'll talk about is
We're right on time. Excellent.
Prime Factors.
Delicious.
Nom.
I want some prime ribs.
So in this episode, the Voyager is just kind of tooling around, and
The Voyager. God damn
and
it.
a ship shows up, and this dude comes on, and he's got kind of a creepiness to him, but he's like, "Hey guys, you want to come to my planet? We got sex."
I said to Chris, I was like, you can tell just by looking at this guy, he never wears fucking shoes. Never. Never.
Or underwear, for that matter.
Well-
It's all just hanging out.
Or a condom.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah.
Janeway can contest to that, I'm sure.
Um,
Attest, not contest.
So anyway, so
It is a
this dude
contest.
shows up and he's like, "Hey, we got this great fucking planet. We've heard all about you guys. You sound really cool. We want to invite you to our planet, hang out, enjoy it. Maybe."
Let us see your genitals.
So the Voyager's like, "All right, let's do it. Let's go visit Sex Planet, because we never get to visit Sex Planet."
We're a million miles away from Ryza.
So they go and they visit, and it's pretty great, Everyone's really nice. This guy has taken a big interest in Janeway.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of got a French thing going on, but she's down
I don't
with
know
that.
where that came from.
He's, the actor is in fact Belgian.
well, close
there you
enough.
go. As I say, yeah, that's a good point, because there are no French people in the 21st century, so you'd have to be from somewhere else. Anyway,
But we do know New Zealand's back, so that's good.
Thank God.
Like the Romulans.
so
This changes everything, like the brain.
So we get to the planet, and everything seems great. Everyone's having a good time. They're doing a shore leave. Janeway and this dude are plowing non-stop. He's buying her nice dresses, all kinds of stuff.
They don't have to eat Neelix's shitty cooking for a while.
Yeah, they get some better food for once. And Harry Kim gets like a girlfriend and who likes to play the weather machine. And
it sounds euphemistic, but I don't know what for,
I mean,
she likes to play the weather machine, if you know what I mean. No, I fucking don't have any clue.
Harry Kim's penis, obviously.
Oh, the weather machine. She's gonna make it
Does it-
rain.
Oh.
We'll weather the weather.
So anyway.
Whatever the weather.
Whether Kim likes it or not.
So they're hanging out, and she's like, "Hey, I want to show you this cool place." And they step on this platform, and they magically transport somewhere else. And at first, it's like, "Oh, this is like a cool holodeck." And she's like, "No, No, holodeck, we're literally on a planet 40,000 light years from where we just were. This thing at our town square is a fucking transporter that can go fucking 40,000 light years. And Harry Kim's like, boing.
But that's irrelevant.
So he immediately goes to Janeway and the
interrupts her plowing.
Yeah, and he's like, Captain, I got something cool to tell you. They got a fucking transporter here that could transport us like more than halfway home in an instant. And she's like, boing, boing.
Again, irrelevant.
and she's like, so Frenchie, what do you think? And he's like, well, yeah, we do have it, and
it is great.
It is great, but your primitive society.
Oh my god.
We can't. We have this.
This is what it feels
we have
like.
This
Janeway.
rule. We call it the first rule, and it means that we can't give technology to you
we call
primitives.
It the read alert.
And then focus on Janeway.
Fucking perfect.
Focus on Janeway. Slide whistle.
Oh.
So like they beam back on the ship. And she's like, "Fuck, we just got Prime Directive. Fuck." So that's how it feels. But everyone else is kind of like, yeah, but
fuck that bullshit.
Fuck this shit. Let's just So she tries to talk. They come up with a stupid plan. She's like, because they apparently Harry. There was another thing where Harry Kim was like telling some boring ass story, and the girl's like, "Tell me more."
I said
I love stories. So,
he's like, I've got lots of stories. And she's like, tell me, as she stifles a yawn.
Did I tell you how I died last week? Whoa.
So apparently,
you okay?
Apparently she loves stories, and they all love stories because, they're just so into pleasuring themselves that they get boners just from hearing stories. So Janeway's like, I got a plan. Why don't we give these people all of our stories? Like, we'll just give them an ebook. And they give us this fucking amazing technology, and she goes and she offers that to the main guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll think about it."
I do like stories.
Hand wank gesture,
an actual wank,
and then
because it's him.
But of course, he's not really. He just wants
gross.
to plow. But in the meantime, another guy comes up to Harry Kim and is like, "Hey, listen, they're not gonna give you the fucking thing, but I will. I got it right here.
I love stories.
Give me those stories, because I'm gonna make fucking bank selling these things." So
do you have Beowulf? Because that'll be appropriate next week.
give me some stories. I'll give you the transporter, and no one has to know about it. So Kim goes to Janeway. She's like, "No, we can't do that because we." Like, if that guy had come to us before we knew it was against the Prime Directive, we absolutely would have done this. But because we learned first that it was against their rules, now we can't, and that's the thing. And so then
what does Seska have to say about this?
Seska's like, fuck this shit. I'm getting fucking home. It's my brother's birthday. Whatever. We're fucking leaving.
Pinatas all around.
Well, even fucking Federation engineer is back.
Yeah. What's his name? Curly. Curly Carey.
I thought he was Makee too. Am I nuts?
Harry.
No, because he didn't like.
That was the
B'Elanna.
whole thing. Was like
He didn't want B'Elanna to be the chief engineer because she.
Oh, that's what that guy was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of background characters that you don't learn a whole lot about yet.
I thought we were never going to see him again, so I was fucking
So it's
flabbergasted.
like Carrie is like, yeah, I agree with you guys. So Carrie, B'Elanna, and Seska come up with this plan that they're going to make the switch. They're going to make the trade with this dude, give him the stories. So they get it all set up. They download the stories to a USB. They go to the transporter room and beep, boop, boop, boop. Somebody's locked us out of the transporter.
That dick.
And they're like, fuck. So in walks our old friend Tuvok, and he's like,
we think the jig is up for sure. It's like uh-oh.
Like, oh shit, we're about to get a
here.
tongue lashing to Mr. Tuvok.
That sounds hot.
And not the kind of tongue lashing they're doing down on the planet.
Yeah. And he's like, I noticed that somebody had accessed the stories, so I wanted to see who it was, and it was you.
What accent
Give
is this?
me the USB stick. I'm gonna do the switch. And they're all like, oh, really? Great. So Tuvok beams down to the planet, he makes a switch, he comes back with the thing, plug it into the ship.
Plug it in.
He's like, don't plug it into the ship until I talk to Janeway and tell her that I fucking betrayed her and went against her explicit orders. Let me soften the blow, then plug it in. And they're like, okay, but Seska's like, let's plug it in now.
Seska's fucking crazy.
And then they plug it in, and then they realize, oh shit, this thing works because there's some specific mineral in the planet that makes it work. So if we leave, we won't get to use it. So we kind of got to use it right now because Janeway's ordering us to leave, and we're having to cover and say that the warp core is broken.
Wasn't it actually breaking shit too, though?
Well, yes. Well, no, not
Okay.
but
Not yet.
not until they turned it on. And then
this was all
like,
techno-babble all the time.
and then they're like,
I didn't
okay,
follow
let's
any of
turn it on. So they turn
Something
it
about
on, and then
quasars.
shit starts blowing up. Fucking warp core breach imminent, smoke, fire, Geordie rolls.
There's no Geordie roll. It's very sad.
There was an off-screen
Chris
Geordie
did
roll.
mention Geordie rolls.
You knew what was happening.
And they're like, fuck, this thing's fucking, it's not gonna work. So B'Elanna does the only thing she can. She phasers it, blows it up, ruins it. And then she's like looking at it, she's like, oh yeah, because, it needs antimatter or
Anti-neutrinos?
Anti-neutrinos.
That's it, yeah.
We thought it only needed regular neutrinos.
It needs that element from last episode.
It also
Son
needs
of a
anti-neutrinos, so and our systems don't work with anti-neutrinos, so no matter what we did, this wouldn't have worked. And then we have the dressing down. Janeway's like, B'Elanna, you fucking bitch. I can't believe you've done this. Get out of my sight.
What are you, a Maquis or something?
If you fuck up again,
Seriously.
I'm putting you in the hole.
Shit.
And
Not even I'm putting you in
and
the
then
hole.
she's
I'm
like,
taking-
and then
I'm
she's
taking
like,
your
and then
costume.
and then Tuvok's like, well, you should also be mad at me because I was the one who actually did it. And so Janeway's like, okay, B'Elanna, fuck you, double finger, get out of my sight. Tuvok, why would you do this? I'm very disappointed in you, but you did it because you love me. So it's all good. It's all good. But fuck B'Elanna!
Honestly, B'Elanna coming forward was so interesting to me because you'd think her character would instantly want to hide it, shove it under the rug, blame Seska. And the fact that she basically says nope, we're Starfleet now, or at least that's what this uniform tells me. I have to go tell the captain.
Well, because they became best friends.
That's true. They did. They bonded over science.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore.
No more science
She's
for you.
really fucking disappointed.
She's on the list.
Oh, she'll get over it.
I know.
Yeah, and Seska's like, no, let's just cover it up. Let's just say something else broke. And
Seska, Jesus.
You just know that if Janeway had found out, Seska would have been like, yeah, you wouldn't believe how much B'Elanna pushed us into doing this.
Yeah.
B'Elanna and Tuvok, my God, they were all
And
over
Carrie,
it.
fuck
I
that
warned them. I said it's not going to work.
And Neelix just for fun.
Oh, God, yeah. Get him fucking out of here.
There's been very little of him, because he was in this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been great.
He only showed up for a little bit.
Well, you know why? Because it probably takes a fucking long time to get into that makeup. They're probably not really dying to do that every single episode if they don't have to.
Mm.
And I'm also kind of wondering if, especially this one, he wasn't in it a lot, so maybe they try to do him in as many scenes as possible in one day and just be like, here you go. So that's the magic of television. He doesn't have to record all his shit in order.
Nope.
They just get him in his outfit and say, all right, you're in
Today's Neelix Day. We're doing all the
7
Neelix
or 8
scenes.
minutes of film in the next 3 episodes. We're just going to bang it all out.
Well, the other thing, too, is, speaking of Neelix, one thing B'Elanna and Seska and Curly don't think about...
Fresca
is that Neelix and Kess are on board, and they're just going to decide to, everybody on the crew is anxious to get back to the Alpha Quadrant, but Neelix and Kess live in this quadrant.
Well, we
we're
talked
back
about
to
that.
giving a shit about them and where they want to be.
Well, we talked about that.
I know, last week.
Yeah,
I
they
still
were-
don't care what
They
they
were
want.
both ready to go to the Alpha Quadrant if the
Yeah.
transporter trick
I
worked.
guess
So
that's true.
it seems like they're just like, yeah, we got nothing here. We'll go wherever.
Yeah, adventure. We like it.
Yeah.
I
So
remember
I think that's already been covered. They
Plus,
just,
they've got each other. It's all they really want.
Still
you
would have
know?
been nice to be consulted.
oh, totally. But they weren't consulting anyone. So.
That's true.
Yeah, literally. If it's gonna get done, it's gonna get done right this instant.
Which is always a good way to do science. Absolutely fucking rush it.
Rush it as fast as
Because you can
Yep.
imagine that, the device works on anti-neutrinos. They have 70 fucking years in transit right now, as far as they know.
Yeah, that's true. They probably could have figured
They
it out.
could have figured something else out. They had the technology.
No, they blew it up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
well, what
they
I'm
had
saying,
it, that's
what
the
I'm
point.
saying is they should have been like, all right, well, we got the thing, Because here's the thing: if they had just left the planet, right?
But we need to get home for Seska's brother's birthday.
And then Janeway was like, and then Tuvok told Janeway like, "Hey, by the way, I totally betrayed you. I went to the planet. I did the thing you did not want anybody to do, and you specifically said don't do. I did, but we have the thing now. It's not like Janeway's going to turn the ship around and bring it back.
Yeah,
It's,
and
what's
also
done.
ask for the library back, because those people now have the library.
Right.
My
But
God.
it's just a copy. I mean, it's not like they have the whole.
They have the complete works of Jordan Peterson. They're going to turn into terrible people.
They have all of the Dixon Hill holodeck programs.
They have fucking Ayn Rand. Shit.
Yikes.
Oh.
And that's how it became Ayn Rand Planet.
Yep.
Actually, it kind of is Ayn Rand Planet.
Oh Jesus.
Isn't it?
They probably have the book that
Makes you into a Nazi planet?
breaks you into Nazi planet.
I thought you were going to say that makes you Chicago gangster.
Oh,
Or
well, I have
they
one
have both.
too.
They're going to be fucking Chicago gangster Nazis.
From space!
I think we just wrote the next Bioshock.
There you go.
That I wouldn't play. I'd watch
Drop
you
the
play that.
heaters.
Wowzers.
We want some of those fancy heaters.
Speaking of funny things from TOS that we're bringing out for reasons, the original story for this episode involved that this race that we're encountering was going to be the same race that dispatched Gary's 7.
Oh, that's terrible.
Giving more credence to Assignment Earth, which no, please don't.
I mean,
Why would those people care about...
Well,
they
it
just-
would have been a different story.
Oh,
It
okay.
would have been that race was doing instead of this race. It would have been that race.
I see.
See, that actually, I mean, as much as Assignment Earth is a travesty, and it is,
Yes.
I wouldn't have
That's cool.
minded a follow-up to that because we don't know where Gary 7 came from. And, I mean, he's
Yeah.
apparently magic. So I'd have been okay, not with this specific story. Like, it wouldn't have made sense for it to be a sex planet, but...
Could they have found, though, more of a just, like, stereotypically, like, creepy European sex pest
Yeah.
to represent Sex Planet? Like,
Without wearing shoes ever.
yeah. What I loved to, I was saying at one point, I was like, Jesus Christ, so these people are just fucking handsy as shit. Like, everybody's constantly touching everybody else, but they want to make damn sure they have permission to share your stories first. Like, their consent is all kinds of weird.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think, it is interesting to get a Star Trek story where the Prime Directive shoe is on the other foot.
Yeah, because I was sitting there and I was like, what's the conflict going to be here? Because at first I was like, how creepy is this guy going to get?
Harry Kim traipses on the flowers and...
Yeah, and then when they worked out, we get to the point where it's like, oh, this is what it's about. Okay, this should be interesting. And it was.
Yeah.
They could have really dropped the ball, but they didn't, so well done there. One thing,
But
though,
Harry Kim's balls definitely dropped.
one thing is like Harry, the platform will still be there if you get laid first. Just don't go. Jesus Christ! I swear to God.
Is this why he's trying so hard not to go? And no, he has a girlfriend at home, doesn't he? I was gonna say maybe that's why he was like, no, I don't want to date the Delaney sisters. Maybe he doesn't like ladies, but he has a girlfriend back home, so I guess he does like ladies.
So here's the thing, right? So the magic thing, it's a platform, and you just stand on it, right?
Yep.
Well, apparently it folds space.
Well, right, yeah. So presumably, could they just build a giant fucking version of that platform that the whole ship could fit on?
Well, they said
Who's
that.
they?
The aliens.
Crew of the Void? The aliens aren't going to help them do that. The aliens want them to stick
No,
around
that's true. They do
so
want
they
them
can
to-
keep fucking them.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
they
but
even
it
said
sounds
that.
like they're going to get sick of them quickly, so why not just
Oh,
keep
yeah,
them for a couple
that
weeks until they get bored
scene
and
where
then
it's
give
like
it to
you.
where,
Yeah.
where Sex Man is like, "I love you, Janeway," and she's like, she says something to upset. He's like, "You have bored me now. I am done with you. Get
Well, 'cause
me
he
out of
realized-
my sight."
Because he's like, you're going to get bored with me. And he gets bored with her because she realized his game.
Yeah. And she's like, "Yep."
They did mention, though, that the size of the platform doesn't matter.
Yeah, Harry Kim said that.
Yeah, like the folding of space, it's just...
Well,
the energy source matters.
Well, what I'm saying is like, but you would need to still land the ship on top of it, I would assume.
Or get near it, yeah. They'd probably have to build an extra platform outdoors somewhere, but it wouldn't need to be huge.
Yeah. If that's the case, I mean, that could have been negotiated. I think like that.
To send them one jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
You
would have been way further than they.
Like,
Well,
maybe-
that's-
like, here's,
that's
like
what-
if I were Janeway, I'd be like, "Hey, Sex Man, I'll stay behind. I'll stay with you. We'll do all the sex you want, but let's in exchange, and we'll give you the stories, but in exchange, I want to land my ship on your platform, send it 40,000 light years ahead. Chakotay will go the rest of the way.
Well, that's what she was offering the stories for. Like, the other guy said, fuck that, I will straight up give you the machine. Her deal was like, look, I get you don't want to give us the tech. So give us a jump, just the one jump.
I don't understand why they wouldn't do that.
Because they're dickheads. Well, really, it's because they didn't want them to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But also because, like, and I get it, like, this is crazy powerful. They didn't want it falling into the wrong hands. Like, imagine if the Borg got their hands on this shit.
No shit. I mean, I totally get why they don't want them. But here's the thing. Do they not know that it only works on their planet?
I don't know, because you really think that would have just ended the conversation, you know? Just be like, look, I can't get into details, but it literally only works here.
Yeah, but there's no risk of it falling into somebody else, like, unless there's other planets that are like that. Which
Yeah,
there probably
or
are.
you can, or once you know what the thing that works on your planet is,
You can eventually
create that yourself.
Yeah.
Even if it takes years, that's still something that that you would then have.
Yeah. I mean, or again, they just legit don't realize it.
Yeah.
Don't quite understand fully.
Plus, they need those stories.
They do.
They're all sketchy. Even the guy making the secondary deal, even more sketchy.
Oh yeah, he was wicked sketchy.
Oh, he became so crazy rich. Like, he's totally chief sex pest after this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what I really liked was Udana's little dress. It was very cute.
She was the music.
Yeah, she was
Music,
Harry's
weather.
little
She was the
girlfriend.
meteorologist.
Yeah, that was a stupid prop.
Well, I kind of enjoyed it. Turned out to be a weather machine because I was like, oh, that is not music. That is terrible. And then no, it wasn't music. It was telling her it was going to rain next
She
week.
was just doing her job.
Everyone's a critic.
Speaking of special props, the spatial trajector matrix prop that we get was originally Wesley Crusher's superconductive magnet.
Oh God, I forgot about that stupid thing.
From something.
A very early episode.
Yeah.
A very bad one, I'm sure.
They all are.
There's like 2 good first season episodes. That's just not one of them.
It wasn't naked.
Code
It
of
wasn't
Honor
naked now
and-
because that had the
I
repulsor
was.
beam.
I didn't write down which episode it was, but I want to say it might have been he was just carrying it around during the Dauphin?
Well,
Maybe.
I don't remember, but yeah.
Oh God, that episode. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, now I'm just remembering so much of season 1 of
Was
TNG.
the Dauphin
That
the
wasn't
one where
season
he's
one.
like dating a space caterpillar?
Yes.
Cool.
God. I will say, like,
Will you?
This so far, like the first season of Voyager, like, is so much better than the first season of TNG.
That
Well,
Like-
yeah, I mean, because
bar is low.
Gene Roddenberry and his crew aren't writing it. You know, they actually hired proper writers.
Like, I feel like we've had maybe one episode that was like, I think we were all like, yeah, that was
Oh yeah,
kind of
the
shitty.
Noiri one
But-
wasn't great.
That was still nowhere near as bad as like their take on the Naked Now.
Yeah, or
Naked Time.
Code of
I
Honor.
forget which one's which.
Naked Time is the original.
Thank you. Whereas, yeah, this week in particular, I think were 2 really quite good ones. Like,
Yeah.
I was impressed with both of them. Because again, like, it was nice to finally see, like you said, Jake, and they even say in the episode, like, fuck, this is what it's like.
Yeah,
This sucks.
and this
No
is,
wonder other races hate us so
and
much.
like this is an episode unlike the first one, which was still good, but this one here, it really is a uniquely Voyager episode because the whole plot is all around the we need this technology to get home thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Delta Quadrant specific.
Yep.
Yeah, and this wasn't an instance of like, it's interesting because I don't know if I would have liked it as much if the technology would have worked. I wonder, like, because the whole, at the end of the day,
What if it backfired and sent them the other way?
yeah, I was thinking like, oh, it would be interesting if, like, whatever was happening on the ship caused some cataclysm on the planet.
Oh,
I was kind of waiting for that to happen.
Like, oh shit, we're feeding back neutrinos into their anti-neutrino thing, and
all the stories we just gave them are now just all full of termites.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was kind of waiting for him to have accidentally caused a Holocaust to really drive home the whole, like, Prime Directive
But then,
thing.
like, but that would have made B'Elanna irredeemable.
Yeah, like, that would have been way too far.
Or Seska, at least.
Yeah, but it's interesting that they don't actually get caught by, the planet people, the sex people. They don't actually, like, other than the guy that sold it to him, they don't know.
Yeah. Well, also just, like, even if he had called up and been like, what are you doing? You know what? We're leaving. Fuck you, pal. You told us to leave. We're on our way.
This is what it's like when we leave. Don't you
Double
like?
bird.
You like watching us walk away?
It's also interesting, though. It's like, because it's true that the only reason why they don't, like, if the creepy story dealer had approached them first with the thing before they asked permission from the other guy, they would have just bought the thing. Like, no questions asked. Because they wouldn't, like, if they didn't know that it was against their Prime Directive, it wouldn't have been a problem.
I feel like they would have wondered why Sketchy Dude was being sketchy.
Well, it does kind of make me wonder, though, like, what are the ethics of the Prime Directive if you're on the receiving end of something? So, like, the fact that
I mean, the Prime Directive is we don't get involved in other people's cultures. It's not just for races that are less advanced as us. It's cultures in entirety.
Well, right.
And if their culture is we don't give you the technology, I think you have to respect that.
Well, yeah, you have to respect
your
that.
Prime Directive.
But you have to respect that. But then if somebody else comes to you and says, "Well, I'll give it to you. I'll give you the technology." Like, why are they bound?
Send Tuvok in. That's the answer.
Well, like, why does Janeway decline
principles? And that's it.
But like, but based on what principle? And I feel like Tuvok's right. Like, Tuvok was logical. Like, yeah,
she'd already written in her log, I said no.
He disobeyed orders, which was wrong. But I think he was right in that it was not a violation of Federation principles to accept the thing if it was offered to them, which it was, because it wasn't against Federation principles to give them the stories. Janeway just didn't want to betray her fuck buddy in a lot of ways, I think. I don't know. I feel like Tuvok was actually right in this.
Oh, absolutely.
It's funny, the Tuvok thing was a genuine surprise to me, because I thought what he was just doing was, like, he was going to be, like...
catching them.
The stern parent, so that Janeway didn't have to be the hard ass, It's like, alright, everyone can be mad at me, because I don't care if they're mad at me.
Yeah, I don't care if any of you
Janeway
like
gets
me.
to be like, I tried, but Tuvok, oh no! So the fact that he was actually like, no, I'm taking the hit for her in a different way, was like, oh, well, shit, did not see that coming.
The other really fascinating thing about the Tuvok decision is that Tim Russ had them like work a lot more on what his motivations were in him, disobeying her order. And the thing that's lacking that he wishes they had worked in more was he's also, in a sense, trying to avoid a coup. Because all the Maquis people are now getting more and more pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the fact that Janeway just said, no, we're not going to get home earlier. We're not going to, do something that's against my personal ethics or against what I perceive the Federation ethics are as the person translating them for you. Is they're like, fucking shit. We're going to mutiny any moment now.
You know what would have really helped in this situation? A fucking JAG. Somebody on the ship that knew the fucking law and could have made a fucking ruling. Like, because I feel like
Troy.
It's a little ambiguous because I honestly do not know if Janeway was legally required to say, to decline the offer from the
I think
story
that's
peddler.
What captains are for in this.
I mean,
yeah, it is.
I'm not gonna lie. Had I been the captain here, and Sketchy Guy came to me, I'd have turned him down just because I would have thought, yeah, bullshit, is that real? It's probably a bomb. Blow my ship up the minute I use it. Fuck you.
Hell, if I'm the captain, I'm activating General Order 24, whatever it is, and we're gonna land the fucking ship on the ruins of their fucking city, right on top of that platform. We're turning it on.
That we somehow didn't destroy.
No,
They'll use some sort of biological weapon.
There you go.
It didn't say how you destroy the
Oh, there you
planet.
go.
You just destroy all the life, but leave the stuff intact.
I liked the pecan pie. Because
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of pecan pie.
So did the creepo. He loved it.
That's the one problem. Oh, I'll send you the recipe. Yeah, but if they don't have pecans, that's a problem.
Yeah, no kidding.
More like pecan pie.
Hey!
They probably have something like pecan.
Or something like replicators, who knows. Maybe that's part of it. I will send you the chemical makeup of a pecan.
Yeah, that's what recipe means.
See,
to
what it
them.
should have been, it should have been like, yeah, I could send you these pecans, but we don't like to share our botanicals with primitive cultures that don't have.
Our delicious nut bounty.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's what Paris calls his pants.
No.
Speaking of Paris, I think I spotted his photo double in this episode.
Ah.
Because there's in this first scene where they're first showing the little plaza where I go, what are we in fucking, what do they say? Not
I don't
First
remember.
Contact.
At least we're not in the mall again.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's sort of the other mall. I was like, oh my, what is this fucking Encounter at Farpoint?
Oh.
She's looking at claw.
Oh,
and shit.
it had strong Farpoint vibes.
But in the foreground, there was a guy who, for a split second, I thought was Tom because he was tall, lanky, same exact haircut. But then Tom was in the background, and I legitimately did like, wait, what the? Hold on.
2 Toms, 1 bridge.
So I kind of wonder if it was like, we need an extra. Grab fucking. I can't think of his real name, but grab Tom's body double.
Robert.
Yeah, grab
One of the many Roberts.
grab Bob.
When in doubt, Robert.
Grab Bob's body double. Which Bob? It's fucking Tom Bob.
Tom Bombadil.
God, they probably did just end up calling them by their character names just for simplicity's sake.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Poor doctor.
Dr. Bob. But yeah, I think
Good week.
Good week.
A good week.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
thought
solid.
so too. Probably our best week.
Yeah, like, again, the first episode a bummer, but definitely interesting.
Very interesting.
This episode interesting without being a bummer, if a little, like...
Skeezy. You feel
yeah.
a little dirty
so much
afterwards.
skis.
Yeah.
So much skis. I compared it to, there's actually, if you have Paramount Plus to watch Star Trek, this, at the time of recording, is on there. It's
Unless you're in Europe.
Oh, right. What a
Holy
bullshit
fucking
job that
shit.
was.
The
Assholes.
worst.
Wait, what happened?
Oh boy.
They decided to pull Star Trek from European Netflix like 2 days before the season 4 Discovery premiere, and it's not ready to launch in Europe on Paramount Plus until sometime next year.
I don't know.
That sucks.
Like
Why?
a couple days before.
But I will say, having seen the first episode of this new season
Which we
of
haven't.
Discovery,
Okay. No spoilers.
no
But
spoilers, but kind of wish I was European.
Not good, huh?
It's a sensory.
little
It's
envious.
another sensory overload episode, and oh boy, you're gonna love the fire.
Oh God, yeah. Anyway, watch it
Interesting.
when you get a chance.
We
and,
will. Yeah, we've not.
We still gotta start Prodigy too.
Yeah, our schedule. Weird.
Prodigy episode this week was okay.
But whatever. Oh yes, but there's this movie that a friend of Caitlin's introduced us to, which is an absolute delight. What's it called again? Shirley Valentine.
Don't call me Shirley.
It's about this middle-aged English woman who
Call me Valentine.
is like, I'm going. Her stick in the mud husband never wants to go anywhere. She's like, fuck it, I'm going on a sweet Greek vacation, and she meets a creepy Greek guy. She gets her groove back. It's really weird because the husband is played by the dude that plays the King of Rohan, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. But
What is that from?
Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Great movie though. Really should be better known. Very funny. But I was getting vague Shirley Valentine vibes at first.
All right. There's no segue into our
Sorry,
activity
yeah,
this week, but yeah. So we're enjoying Voyager, and you know what we do when we see Voyager is we see the title card at the beginning of the episode.
There we go.
So the activity this week is a title card activity.
Oh boy. How many?
Title, titular card.
Yeah, tits.
Damn. Everybody is children's.
All right, so a couple weeks ago, we did all the movie title cards so that I could wait long enough for the Prodigy title card to be out so that I could have it in this week's activity. Because otherwise, I'd be using one from like the trailer, which turns out not the same title card they use in the show. So here we go. We're starting talking title cards of all the different series. We're starting off with the original series.
Classic.
Very, very classic. We got lovely yellow letters over a starfield. That lovely font that we also get to see in some of the movies. Classic.
It was
this is
blue
best
in a
title
few
card.
episodes, wasn't it?
You will see.
Ah.
Any other comments on this title card?
No, I mean, it's
what it is.
You know.
It's so it's such a great font too.
It really is.
It becomes the Star Trek font that we see everywhere.
I'm feeling like, because I never really thought of this before, but the yellow text on a dark star field, did Star Wars rip this off?
Let's go with yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
Good. Speaking of yellow text on a starfield, for season 3 they switch it to blue text on a starfield, and also instead of only white stars,
they got multicolored
you'll see a
stars.
couple like scattered around, and when it's moving, you see them more.
Yeah.
A couple red stars, a blue
red.
star.
Oh, red and blue giants.
Yeah, and they zoom by and do the thing. Otherwise, same exact font but blue. I don't really know why they changed it, but there it is.
More
It's
or less
nice.
the same shade as TNG too, I think.
Well, let's find out.
Maybe production that season blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep on moving forward. We have the TAS title card. Very simple. Same text, basically.
text.
But we're over some of their terrible animation.
I mean, it looks fine.
I was gonna say it looks alright when it's not moving.
Yeah, when it's not moving, it's actually quite nice. Yeah, no, for it's not bad.
Feels like the least kind thing you can say about animation.
Yeah,
looks
seriously.
good when it's not moving. Oh,
Sad.
I tried real hard.
No, you didn't.
No, it's true. Some Hanna-Barbera
Yeah, so we got
shit.
for the TNG, we have that blue font.
That very distinct.
Blue
those
font
weird
sound
A's.
too much like bouffant.
Yeah, the A's are very interesting. The A's are kind of almost deltas? What would you call those?
That actually looks
They're-
like those coffee cups they have in
like a backwards G.
Oh yeah, they kind of do.
I find it interesting that the A in Generation is the same A from Star, but the T and E
aren't.
or the R even for that matter are not the same.
It's probably because when they're scaled down that much,
you
it was
wouldn't
probably going
see
to blur
that.
together
That's a
anyway.
good point.
I
I
never.
also think it's not that it's not the same. It's that in the Star Trek text they include the nice little stripy stripe that goes through the underneath the bar in T and all the way through.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I was never keen on this font,
Yeah.
and even now, just like looking at it in depth, it's kind of. I never noticed how weird the S is.
Yeah, this is very strange.
It's and the X does stuff I never noticed before.
Oh wow, it does.
It's little
It's doing a little kick.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's kind of weird
Yeah,
when
I
you
do
really look at it.
Yeah, I like the cutout shape that goes through Star and through Trek. I think that's pretty nice.
I'm interested though, like the kerning around the E in Trek feels like it's a little wider than anything else, and it's
Oh yeah, because all these are very close.
yeah. Some of those ones are all very close, but just the E has like
I think it's
It's a
because
little more
the E
spread
is
out.
the only one that's touching on the actual. I don't know the names for what this would be, but what
they would. It
it's,
would have
it's
been
not a
tou-
thing.
It,
it's not a thing jutting out. It's the actual.
it would have
base
been.
of the
It would have been
letter.
kissing the R
Yeah.
and the K if it
Ah.
were any closer. Good point.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's, nothing's really like kicking me about this this font though. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and very very sadly, both Deep Space Nine and Voyager aren't as high res because
Right, they never.
the two series aren't HD.
I like this. I like this one.
Yeah, it kind of feels like. I don't know if they were going this on purpose, but it's like it feels like some of the movie fonts, but has an extra level of like it feels like they threw in a little bit of that Cardassian like.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did like they embossed and made it 3D, but I think it is the same fonts from the movies.
Yeah, I think it's the same font as the movies. I wonder, do they still have like this little angle on the T?
Well, I think
Yeah,
that's.
I guess they kind of
Oh
do.
yeah, there's the Opus looking R's.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same typeface. I just think that they made it metallic and 3D.
What about the E's? Are the E's in the movies curved like that, or are
Yeah,
they more?
they are. But since in the movies they're not 3D
Oh, yeah.
like this, they're not like embossed like this.
So it's
They
basically
don't. They
It's very
they
similar.
connect.
It's not an exact copy, but it's
it is just
it's,
basically the movie fonts.
Yeah.
very similar.
Okay.
And the same thing for Voyager. Voyager is also very much like the movie fonts. We've even got the swooshes on the star and the Trek.
Yeah.
I think going with the more movie font thing was probably for the
I think
best.
it's good. You know, I gotta say though, I mean, maybe this is just modern design sensibility, but 3D metallic letters,
Oh, it's very
it's
90s.
very 90s.
It's like, look what we can do.
I noticed how they switched though. Like on DS9, it was Star Trek was gold, and Deep
yeah.
Space Nine was silver. On Voyager, Star Trek is silver, and Voyager is gold. Interesting.
One is silver and the other gold.
I was thinking that too. Circles round.
I literally only know that because of Futurama, so I assume that's...
Oh my!
I know it because
song?
Girl Scouts.
What is it from? Oh, I think I know that from Girl Scouts too. Make new friends and keep the old.
One is-
silver,
so yeah,
the
it-
other's gold.
It's what the Benders say to each other in the episode where they meet their counterparts from the other dimension.
Oh, really?
Because one's gray and one's gold.
Okay, Enterprise pisses me off.
It looks like a movie starring Matt Damon.
Because it does
yes.
change between seasons, but this is for seasons 1 and 2. It's just Enterprise, and it starts off over the Earth, and then the rest of the title sequence happens. We'll talk title sequences another time, but it's such a generic-y font. If you look really quick, the R's could be A's.
Oh yeah,
They're not very pretty.
They really wanted so much with that show at first to make a Star Trek that wasn't a Star Trek somehow, and it shows in some of these decisions.
It shows even more in that for seasons 1 and 2, Star Trek isn't even in the title card.
I do like, the big Earth, though. I think that's quite nice.
It makes sense when you consider it's supposed to be like first steps and stuff.
Yeah.
But damn, they should have tried harder on what they overlaid on it.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't. Yeah, it is very simple.
we spend all our design money on Scott Bakula.
We spend all our design money on Faith of the Heart.
Ugh.
But in seasons 3 and 4, they switch it up.
There
and
we go.
They do add Star Trek. They do embrace that they are Star Trek, which is shocking.
This is immensely better. This is like night and day.
Literally just adding Star Trek.
Just
made
adding
it better.
Star Trek made it better.
So it's not just one word and you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, what is this
It's
sci-fi?
not even that. It's
don't
just,
know.
it looks better. It looks a lot better.
They got the lines, which aren't coming out of the S and the K, but still harken back to...
Yeah, it's still just it's not an interesting font. The A's
No.
are nice in the font. And now that you can see an A next to an R, you know that it's not it's not the same.
Yeah, like it feels a little... Well, I mean, because it literally says it, but, it's acknowledging that it's Star Trek, which is like, yes, good, you fucking idiots.
Very, very literally. One thing Enterprise does that I'm a huge fan of that I think is going to be really cool when we finally hit it is they have an entirely different title card and title theme and title sequence and everything when they hit the mirror universe.
I wasn't sure if you were going to bring that up, so I wasn't saying anything.
I wanted to bring it up, so we
Beautiful.
have the Star Trek Enterprise title card for the mirror universe. I did have to catch this a couple seconds after we see it in the original, because it starts off the same as the Star Trek Enterprise logo in seasons 3 and 4, and then it flips to like the inverse colors, which isn't mirroring. It's negative.
Yeah,
but okay, I'll take it.
Well, again, because when Nemesis did literal mirroring, we were like, guys, come on.
Yeah, no fucking kidding.
Yeah, no, that I do love that they went through the trouble of making for 2 episodes just a whole new title sequence.
I think it's really fun. I'm gonna really. That's the thing. As much as I'm probably not gonna like most of the mirror bullshit because fucking hell mirror bullshit, I do love that they put effort in.
Oh man, I mean that whole. Well, more the second part than the first, but
no spoilers.
Without getting into details, just the amount of it is just fan wank.
Oh yeah,
Pure undiluted fan service.
Oh god,
I fucking love it.
It can go so well or so poorly. I'm gonna have to see it to find out because I don't think I've seen these episodes.
Oh, they're
good. I
they are amazing. Scott Bakula cannot play a bad guy.
Yeah, well, it's
like at all. So it's wonderful watching him try to be evil Archer. It's
nice. It's all right.
Yeah, so that's something to look forward to, and it meant that we have another title card to look at.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years pass, and we get to Star Trek Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on in their title sequence. Like you have to find a very certain spot to take this screen grab because they build the thing like out in the animation. I think the squashedness of Discovery is a little tricky for me to read.
I'm not sure the lines coming off the D and the Y work.
Good point.
I don't actually mind that. I hate how stark the T in Star looks.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like
and in Shrek.
They took the original font, but then kind of fucked with it a little bit.
And not for the better, I
Yeah,
think.
plus they're gonna be in motion and literally
Yeah.
like the next frame of the title sequence is them flying out at you in a blurry effect, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah, the Discovery title sequences are busy. But from what I understand, kind of typical of Brian Fuller shows, even though he wasn't involved at this point.
It gave me big Hannibal vibes the first time I watched it, and I remember saying as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also changes between seasons 2 and 3, and
The little details change every season.
but the title card itself
Oh, it does, okay.
changes. It looks like this now.
Oh!
In which they
Oh.
fix Discovery. They also, if you'll notice, and I don't know, I didn't pay attention to the aspect ratio of the screen, but they seem to have widened
Oh, yeah, look at that.
significantly.
The T in Trek still looks like it's hanging out by itself.
Yeah, they haven't changed Star Trek, but
Yeah.
Discovery is a new font. The background is cleaner because there's a little less, like, little
Going
switchy
on,
scratches
yeah.
going on. It's wider because they did something for the title sequence in
I
terms of aspect ratio.
I wonder if they changed the aspect ratio on the show.
I never paid attention. I meant to
They
when I
might
was
have.
looking this up and then forgot.
They made
There's
it
something-
IMAX for some reason.
You know, I know I definitely get, like, not Trek vibes off of Discovery, but for some reason, and this works still, but for some reason, at first I was like, it feels like it should be a NASA font.
Oh,
It feels
okay.
to me like the Discovery seems too big now. It seems like it should
It's
be-
better than too small.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
definitely prefer the proportions here, and they got rid of the lines, which I feel like the lines work sometimes. In that case, they didn't.
I kind of like the V. The little tick
notch,
in V is
yeah.
kind of cool. Yeah, I also think it's much more readable when it's like nice and big.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it's
not
definitely,
squishy,
it's
squishy.
definitely more readable.
Much.
It just I don't know. It feels like it's dominating.
Yeah, and I like also because I think in the original one it's almost the same. It's possibly only like just smaller and squishier in terms of the font between Star Trek and Discovery. It's the same. In this one, at least, there's variety, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
So that's Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek... Oh, I almost forgot to do the short tracks, and then I went back and checked all the short tracks. Because it's going to be super cool whenever we cover the short tracks, because each one has a different title sequence, and I think they're all really fun.
I had forgotten that fact.
They're really fucking fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
But short tracks is very much the Star Trek font from Discovery.
Yeah.
In the same red with the same bullshit going on.
Although I mean, this time they got the dimensions of all of the letters.
Well,
Oh, yeah, that's
whatever.
kinda neat.
Yeah, it might have been just a particular screen grab because they do come in as the animation progresses. There's also literally one short trek episode. Forgotten which one it was. Don't really care. There's one that's different. In that it looks like this.
Ooh.
So instead of
Oh.
the kind of Manila-y background
Yeah,
that
it's-
the Discovery short treks have, this one's a black-ass background with some red splurgy shit. It's harder to see short treks, but in the animation it makes
Yeah,
kind of
when
sense.
it's moving, I bet it's easy.
I bet
to
this
see.
is the one that led into Picard.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
what I
not.
was.
It's
season one.
See, that's what I
Oh.
would have assumed too.
I got nothing then.
I'll look it up. I forget which one it was. But yeah, it's much darker. And it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
We move on to Star Trek Picard. A lot of negative space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Trek is quite small.
It's the Discovery font, but it's in gold.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this one. I kind of like it. I like the delta. The use of the
Delta's
delta.
pretty,
I do love the delta.
Yeah, the delta's
The
good.
delta is like aces.
This might be
or
the best thing about
deltas.
Picard.
I'm sorry, Data. Data is the best thing about Picard.
Eh.
But yeah, no, this works.
Yeah, and even the simplicity of the Picard font.
Yeah, it's
I think
somehow...
the fact that it's got the delta makes it nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's appropriate. Picard himself doesn't need a fancy font. Is it?
Yeah, I also picked the time when the delta starts off exactly in the same lines as Picard and gets
Oh, okay.
bigger and bigger and bigger until it does a thing.
Oh,
Right.
cool.
But yep, Picard, fairly clean, even more clean because it's on a pretty white background with the flex from the animation
Yeah.
go around. We move on to Lower Decks, a fucking cartoon show.
Looks goofy and
Looks,
wacky.
Oh.
looks like a cartoon.
Oh, I somehow forgot that it's literally the TOS Star Trek, but then Lower Decks is some sort of like
Yeah, not even the Discovery
TNG parody font.
Yeah, but then they do
What?
They do the credits. I'm pretty sure are just the TNG credits. They use the same text.
Why did they mix styles?
I don't know.
I don't know. It looks really goofy though.
It
Because
does.
this way they can wink
Two
twice
references, yes.
at their viewers. Look what we did.
Also, the E into the R looks like a dick.
Let me see.
See this,
Oh, yeah,
this
it
negative
does kinda
space?
look
Oh my
That's
god, I
good.
bet
From
they
the E
did
to the
that
R.
on purpose.
Oh, it's actually probably supposed to look like the Enterprise. It's got 2 little nacelles and...
Actually, if that's true, that's excellent. But
No, it's a dick. It's a big.
It looks more like a
Big
starship
mushroom
than a
tip.
dick to me.
I will say Eagle Moss has shown off photos
Or
of
a
its,
crochet hook.
of its Cerritos model, and as I've said before, I'm not sure about the show, but I do like the ship.
have you seen? I don't know if you've looked because you haven't watched Prodigy yet.
Not yet.
The Protostar is quite nice.
It's from what I've seen in the trailers, it's very pretty.
Yeah, the Protostar is great.
Get some Voyager thing going on.
Exactly. It's a very clean Voyager
That's the fucking
or Intrepid class.
considering like the whole, people always sort of talk about the difference between like Star Trek and Star Wars is like Starfleet ships at least are always very, very clean and bright, whereas Star Wars, everything is always kind of lived in.
A beat up hunk of junk.
But even by Star Trek standards, the Protostar is like fucking glistening.
Which makes sense. You'll see why it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm
in
sure.
the show.
Yeah.
And we move on to Prodigy. What's interesting in Prodigy, and as of a couple weeks ago before the show came out and I got the screen grab of the title card I was looking at was from one of the trailers, which is a little cleaner and just has Prodigy without the faces in them. In the actual show, it has the faces in them, which makes it feel a little more kids' show because kids need lots of sensory stimulation.
I also I know that they did it for branding, but it really doesn't need the Nickelodeon.
Oh, they love slapping their name on anything they have even tangential relationship to.
Yeah, it's a little sad because it also clashes with the color scheme.
Yeah, like
So
I think
badly.
this would have been really good without the Nickelodeon and maybe without the faces.
Yeah, I'll show you what it looks like without it in a minute. But yeah, I do love the Prodigy font. The Prodigy font, I think, is super chilly.
Yeah, I will say though, even without
Super
the face,
chilly. That's not a fucking thing. Super cool.
It is now.
like I feel like even without the faces, it does still feel kind of more like a kid show font.
Because it's got like a star in the O.
Well, it's the
the
command.
command delta.
Well, I know
Command
that,
dots.
but it feels kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
Kid
just
showy.
it's so big and kind of chunky.
Yeah.
And again, that's not. And again, it's not a knock on it. It works for what it is. Again, I notice we're back to the just straight up TOS font as opposed to the modified disco one.
Yep.
I like the faces even.
The faces are
Although it looks like
cool.
the divot between the D and the I is trying to pick Janeway's nose.
Oh no.
Maybe move her
Oh,
over
yeah.
a little.
Yeah, I love the command insignia in the O, and I also love the fact that it's sideways, so it's got that forward movement.
Yeah.
It kind of denotes movement, and that's
Yeah.
kind of neat.
You kind of like the ghost delta in the background there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's the bottom of it.
Yeah.
You're right though. That because it's mostly like silver, blue, purple shades of pink. That fucking orange ass Nickelodeon is just like hi.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if
Yikes.
they had if they really needed to have Nickelodeon on there, they should have just put in a different font.
Yeah, like
than their
white.
stupid
Make
theirs.
it white, like Star Trek.
Yeah,
or
like
something.
we all know you're normally orange. You have been for fucking 35, 40 years.
Like how you checked your watch to be like 20,
How long
35
has
years.
Nickelodeon been around?
This is my how long has Nickelodeon been around watch. That's literally all it tells me.
Yep.
All right, the last thing I want to show you guys, because this isn't out yet, but the title card I grabbed was from a trailer, is the Strange New Worlds. At least the text will probably stay the same.
I'm hoping they keep that font. Yeah.
Yeah, the
I mean,
font
that's-
is real nice.
I like the
TOS font.
But it looks like it's on a magic 8-ball.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
part we're not sure.
I
if
don't
it's-
think that's going to stay. I think this may the background that you see is probably just for that trailer that I grabbed this from. I'm not, so I won't keep this in the full list. But yeah, the way they have the font written, it's also more vertical than other
Yeah.
title cards. They go onto another line. They have different sizes of the words. There's another little command insignia in the O. This one is stretching up, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. I when they showed it in that, I was like, oh, I hope that's not strictly promotional. I hope that's actually what they're going with.
Yeah, I really like the font there.
Yeah, I think when it does come out, it'll be at least very similar to this. But I didn't want to wait to do the title card day until Star Trek Strange
Yeah,
New
'cause
Worlds come
that's
out. But
When
we'll
does-
talk
due
about
for
when
a
is that
while,
anyway?
I think.
next year.
Yeah, they still haven't given a firm date, but
Have they taped it, do you know?
I think they definitely either are in process or only recently wrapped. One or the other. I know they had to shut down production for a little bit because of COVID stuff, maybe, or something. But, yeah, it's in process.
All right, well, we're going to do that thing we do when we talk about various Star Trek activities. We're going to play Pick Your Favorite, Pick Your Least Favorite.
Kind of torn.
On what, favorite or least favorite?
Least.
I know, it's between two for me for least.
I wonder if it's the same two as me.
Let's find out.
So, I'm torn between either first 2 season Enterprise, with its generic-ass lack of Star Trek, and we couldn't decide which parody to do Lower Decks.
Yep, I'm between the same two.
Like, they're both annoying for different reasons. Then even favorite's kind of hard, because there's just a lot of perfectly good options.
I know, there are a lot that I could say I could say very good things about. And then there were a lot that just kind of like, yeah, it's good, but I don't know if it would be my favorite. Anyone want to start?
I think Lower Decks is my least favorite.
No, I gotta give it to Enterprise. The more I look at it, the more I'm just annoyed by its, like, unforgivable blandness.
I know, and the fact that they don't have Star Trek on there, it almost feels like they're ashamed of it, which makes me unhappy.
When you then watch the first episode, it's like, what's the point? This is so blatantly still Star Trek. Like, you're not fooling anyone.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Enterprise is my least as well, because it's so plain. It's not an interesting font. The R's I'm not a fan of, because they look like A's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go for my least. I'm gonna have to go Lower Decks. I just think it looks ugly. I just think
it is.
It's like the Lower Decks text is just kind of bulbous and weird and
it doesn't mix well together. It isn't even just that they tried to mash more like references together. It's that it just looks gross.
Yeah, it's
not a nice mix.
Not great.
All right, I'm going to plant my flag now for my favorite, because it surprised me. From when I very first saw the trailer, I really like the Prodigy title card.
Wow. No, it's
even though it feels like there's a lot of bells and whistles because it's a kids show and it's got the faces and all this stuff, but it's very pretty.
No, it's very nice. It's doing some of its own thing without going too far.
Yeah, if Strange New Worlds were in the mix, it might be an interesting conversation, because I bet you they're going to do something real nice.
Hopefully, yeah.
Oh, so we're not allowed to pick Strange New Worlds?
I wouldn't, because we don't know what the...
Yeah, we're not certain that's actually the...
Damn it. Because that's the one I like. I really like that font.
That was a nice one, yeah.
Well, I'll include it in the Tumblr post. Oh, for everybody who's been listening to us talk about fonts and shit, all of these are up on our Tumblr. Just head over to Tumblr/SHB podcast. All these are up, and you can be seeing what the fuck we're talking about.
Actually, if you go to sshbpodcast.com, right? At least right now, that would do it. For sure. My favorite.
I know, favorite is tough.
You gotta give credit. I mean, it's not my favorite, I would say, but when you think of just the whole... and I guess we're gonna do this separately eventually, but, the TAS opening kind of leads into the TNG opening in a way. Because, like, with the original Trek, it's just the ship going through space. With TNG, it's the ship, like, kind of passing by worlds and stuff at first, which is part of the TAS one.
I don't know. TAS, because, we're going to talk about the whole sequences pretty soon. But since I betcha I'm going to get real finicky about TAS because it's animated, so they should have had a whole lot more open up to them in terms of what they can show, and they probably aren't going to fucking take it.
No, and the theme is terrible.
I don't remember the theme at all.
It sounds like it belongs on a game show.
We're talking about those next week.
I mean, it's very 70s.
Anyone make a decision?
For favorite?
Deep Space Nine.
It's
gold pressed platinum.
Yeah.
Right there in the thing.
I'm gonna go with Picard.
Wow, it's the one thing Jake likes about Picard, other than the dog.
I think it's very.
Dog's great.
It's clean. I really like the use of the Delta. Yeah, I don't know. I would say my second place, the one I was debating it with, was season 3 original series, which I also really like.
Why the blue over the yellow?
I just like blue better.
Okay.
I like it better. That's all.
Well, plus it feels like the blue makes more sense because Command Yellow was actually supposed to be Command Green, so it kind of feels like the blue is more in line with reality somehow.
Yeah, it matches McCoy's scrubs, and we're like, yeah,
And he's the best.
You know, I guess I'm gonna have to also say Prodigy.
Sweet.
Wow.
It's just, you know, I really like blue and purple and shit.
I don't really like the Prodigy one.
Oh, I
That's
like
fair.
it. I love the shape.
It's
The
too
shape
busy.
is cool.
Again, it would
While
definitely
we're
be
here-
better without the Nickelodeon, but
Yeah, while we're here and we're chilling, let me just show you what it looked like in the trailer. Because for a hot second, when they came out with the actual title card in the actual show, I was like, oh, I like the one in the trailer better. Which I might still do, just because it's like super, super clean. Like without the faces and without the Nickelodeon, it's so nice.
I do miss the other nebulas that are behind it.
That's
in the
fair.
final
I
one,
actually
though.
like it without the nebula. This I like better.
Yeah, this I like better, but I'll say because I like this one so much, I like
wish
the
I
actual
wish
title card.
the characters weren't like semi-translucent on one side, so you can see the stars behind them. I think that's.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Like the P is more solid than the Y, and it
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
is a gradient
That's weird.
almost. I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either.
And
Yeah, I
then-
think
and there's
I
a- and
like-
There's a lens flare in there that's.
Yeah, they de-emphasized that in the.
Good.
But yeah, I think I will say like there's aspects of this one again like that I like better, but overall I prefer the final one because I like the background nebulas better. This one they're fine, but I like the. Like it's like just random blue thing over here, random blue thing over here, and then there's a burst of orange for no reason. Although having that there might have offset the Nickelodeon a little. But yeah, I think I prefer the final one.
Cool.
Again, except for the Nickelodeon.
Yeah, check out the series too.
Oh yeah,
There's
it's definitely
some
we
kind
just
of
we've
leaf
been
blowing
busy.
going on, so we
Alright.
should probably stop.
Yeah, get your leaf blowers out. We are getting ready to wrap up today. To go blow some leaves. If you liked hanging out and talking about various show title cards with us, you're gonna like talking about shows with us too. And next week we're talking more Star Trek: The Voyager.
Woo!
Next week the episodes we are discussing are State of Flux and Heroes and Demons. It's gonna be a fun week, I hear. What else do we talk about? Yeah, check us out all over the various internets. We've got like 3,000 episodes up on SoundCloud. You can find us on all the other different podcast platforms. Insert list here. You've heard all this 1,000 times by now. Friend us on the Facebook, the Twitter, MySpace, evidently. And yeah, and as I said, check out this whole title card discussion on our Tumblr. Let us know which title cards you liked best and how much you hate the Enterprise one as well. That wraps up this week. This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
This has been Jake.
This is always Chris.
Is it?
Most of the time.
Okay, sometimes you're in front of a different nebula, you see. So. I like that one better.
Yeah, and this one you're a little more see-through. It's weird.
You're missing your Nickelodeon.
You can see the wall behind you.